hormone shots every day.
10th day today. I feel like it's getting a bit more tough. I'm definitely feeling a little bit more bloated and a lot of anxiety, but I just have to remind myself that I just gotta keep my eye on the prize.
That prize is an insurance against fertility as women get older. This was the start of Asa's egg freezing journey. She underwent the procedure in Bangkok because currently, egg freezing in Singapore is only permitted for medical reasons. For example, where the treatment of the condition affects fertility. But come July,
a watershed move giving women the choice to undergo elective egg freezing. However, only legally married couples can use their frozen eggs for procreation.
with this change in law, women aged 21 to 37 will now be allowed to harvest, freeze, and store their eggs without needing a medical reason. I've been in a relationship for a couple of years, and for my partner and I, getting married and having kids aren't priorities right now. But I turned 35 this November, and by medical standards, my fertility is definitely decreasing. With elective egg freezing being allowed in Singapore soon, I wonder if I should freeze my eggs. Actress Asa Wang made the decision to freeze her eggs in 2018 when she was 35. Hi. How are you? Good. She paid about 9,000 Sing dollars to do it in Bangkok because then she wasn't allowed to do the procedure in Singapore. So Asa, how did you feel about the fact that you weren't able to freeze your eggs here in Singapore?
I feel very disheartened. Instead of coming back to the comforts of home where I could be with my family, I'd have to maneuver everything and do it in Thailand.
And you were single when you did it. Where did that sense of urgency come from?
Being single is a time when you really should be doing it. You are planning to freeze your eggs to give you time to meet Mr. Right, not rush into Mr. Right and then end up getting divorced. You know, I just think that freezing your eggs allows women to be able to do whatever they want with their career and not feel like a race rat to try to find a husband to get married, and then you don't know if you married this person because you're rushing for time.
Was there anything else that made you feel, okay, at this point I need to freeze my eggs?
Medically, I think there was a little bit of urgency for me. I had very low egg count. I was told that conceiving naturally would be a problem. So I was basically pushed after seeing the doctor and said, look, if you're gonna do this, you should do it now. And, you know, I was 35 and I was like, all right, like I totally understand. And he goes, the longer you wait, the next time you come back, your eggs probably just gonna get less and less.
And I am turning 35 this year, so
Okay.
I feel like there is a timeline for me.
Yes, like my life just started at 35, literally. My career, I did everything I wanted to do, and at 35 is when my fraternity journey started. So as long as, you know, your eggs are healthy, there really is no reason unless the doctor says that you have a medical reason.
Even though Asa has a low egg count, it's not considered a medical condition because it's commonly an inherent issue in older women.
Because of my ovarian cyst surgery, it will affect my egg count and egg quality, and I would want to be able to make a decision to freeze my eggs at an earlier age. I wasn't offered to freeze my eggs by my gynae. At the age of 28, when I went through IVF, I needed to go through multiple failures. I did 3 egg retrievals and 4 failures before I had my daughter at the 5th try.
At 14 years old, I underwent a surgery, and the doctors told me that it was going to be hard for me to conceive when I grew older. You know, I did think about, you know, egg freezing because people like me, we don't have that kind of luxury to just pop kids out.
I'm completely okay if it were raised by my partner saying to me, I've got my eggs frozen, just an option, it's there, just letting you know. I would hope it would be so normalized that it would be a given that most women feel comfortable raising it and men are okay with it as well.
There are many countries around the world where voluntary egg freezing is legal and have been allowed for many years.
Member of Parliament Cheng Li Hui has been advocating for elective egg freezing in Singapore since 2016.
2019, we started a survey and I decided that I'll throw it on Facebook and let's see what happens. The survey actually showed pretty good support. 63% of male and 64% of female support the change in legislation to allow the young single female to freeze their eggs.
How old are these women who want elective egg freezing to be legal?
31 to 39 is really quite clear, especially those who are just starting a relationship and wondering whether they are going to have children. They will want to freeze their eggs as well. The ones who have no partners in sight but really wants to be a mother will also want to think about egg freezing. It's the age that they're worried.
You've been advocating for this since 2016. Why did it take so long to convince the government to legalize elective egg freezing?
I think they're thinking that ladies would delay parenthood because they think that with egg freezing is like a guarantee, you can just push it to later. But many ladies told me that, hey, look, we do Google and read up and we know that the chances are a certain percentage. What we want is an insurance in case we do get married later.
Do you think this will help boost our total fertility rate?
I hope. I'm not sure. But we do need every bit of help we can with, improving our chances of parenthood.
Due to my age, I do feel pressured to make a quick decision to freeze or not to freeze. And most importantly, I want to know what's involved in the process of egg freezing. If it's invasive, if it's painful, then I'm almost certain I'm not going through with it. Which is why I've booked myself a consultation with a fertility expert to find out what exactly I'm in for. I'm considering whether I should freeze my eggs, and I'm curious as to what the process entails. So I've booked myself a consultation with a fertility expert. Hi, Dr. Low. So take me through the process.
We will do ultrasound. This is your left ovary. You can see these fine black dots there. We estimate it to be about 10 eggs on this left ovary alone. Right, I think we should be able to get about 8 to 10 as well. So that would be considered quite a good harvest.
Okay, that's really good to know.
We may further confirm with a blood test so that we can actually tailor the treatment to your number of eggs.
What is typically part of the treatment process?
From the first day of menses, we do an ultrasound to make sure that there are no functional cysts in the ovaries and everything is suitable. And we will start the injection on the second day for probably about 10 to 12 days. So the first injection is called agonist, which is a hormone injection to stimulate the ovary to produce eggs. It is a self-administered injection which you inject every fixed time every day. Without the injection, 1 month you will produce 1 egg. So when we do a self-administered injection, we stimulate the ovaries so that as many eggs as possible are produced, so that we can harvest more eggs, so that the procedure of egg freezing becomes more efficient. We continue for about 4 to 5 days, after which we do a scan to see how the ovary respond. And based on that, sometimes we adjust the dosage of the injection a bit. And the second injection, together with the first injection, will be to control the eggs so that the eggs do not ovulate by itself.
When the egg ovulates naturally, it is released from the ovary and moves into and along the fallopian tube. But eggs need to be prevented from being released so that they can be retrieved from the ovary for the egg freezing process.
We will then use one single dose night injection to cause the final maturation of the egg. And 36 hours after that injection, you go to sleep a short while in the operating theatre, and we will put an ultrasound probe in the vagina.
The egg retrieval process takes 10 to 20 minutes, and it involves a needle entering the ovarian follicle containing the egg and removing the contents. Is egg freezing generally safe?
I would say that egg freezing is generally a very safe procedure.
But this egg retrieval process is just one-off, right? I don't have to do it again and again.
How many cycles you have to go for will depend on ultimately how many eggs we can retrieve and what realistic chance of pregnancy we can expect from these eggs. Based on your scan, we may be able to retrieve, say, about 15 eggs in one cycle. But we are able to retrieve 15 eggs. The general statistic would show that maybe 6 of the eggs would have some chromosome problems like Down syndrome or other abnormalities. The number and the quality of eggs both will actually drop with age. For example, Munah, over here is a bowl of gold eggs to represent good quality eggs, and this is a bowl of red eggs which are abnormal or not healthy. From a 21-year-old, many of the eggs will be normal, small proportions will be abnormal, and the lady will have more eggs. But if a lady were to come in for egg freezing at the age of 40, by and large, we will be able to get very few eggs, and many of the eggs would be abnormal.
According to a study that was published in the Journal of Assisted Reproduction and Genetics, for my age, I would need to freeze 9 eggs to achieve a 70% chance of a baby being born in the future through IVF. If I were older, I'd have to freeze at least 16 eggs. Which is why Asa Wang went through 3 cycles of egg freezing. She now has 14 eggs in total kept in storage in Thailand.
First time I was 35 and I got very little eggs, like 4 to 5. I think the second time I gave myself about a year to rest, 36. The last one I was 38.
What was the experience like having to go through it again and again?
I am very, very scared of injections. I chose to go to the clinic every day at the same time, every day for 10 days.
Wow.
But you know, you start getting the hang of it.
Did the hormone injections affect your body?
Yeah, maybe you would feel bloated one day, you might feel more bloated the other day.
My stomach is huge.
I wasn't wearing many tight clothes because at one point you do look like you could be pregnant, you know?
Okay.
There were some days when I was really tired. I just remember I would always take naps, and I don't nap.
The egg retrieval process, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the pain level? 10 being the most.
I would give it anywhere from like a 4 to a 5.
Oh, really?
It really is not that bad. But also it depends on your pain tolerance, you know? But the feeling almost feels like you have menstrual cramps. You know, there's a little bit of bleeding, but there's nothing alarming at all.
Were there any side effects in the long run?
None whatsoever.
Nothing that would affect your cycle or not?
None.
Once the eggs are retrieved from a woman's ovaries, they're sent to the lab to be frozen by Dr. Ethiraj Balaji and his team of embryologists. This is the egg storage room. Here, some 200 eggs are kept in tanks filled with liquid nitrogen and maintained at a temperature of minus 196 degrees Celsius. So can we actually see the eggs?
You can't see them with naked eye. They are very tiny. They are actually smaller than a full stop on a white paper.
Really? Oh, I didn't know our eggs were like that small. Okay, so Dr. Balaji, tell me what happens in this lab?
We keep the eggs in the incubator for an hour, after which we process. The dark spot in every group is an egg. So after we reduce all this cloudy mass, then we actually look at the eggs to see whether they are mature or immature.
A mature egg is one that is ready to be fertilized by a sperm. Immature eggs are incapable of developing into an embryo.
We will actually freeze only the mature eggs. The immature eggs will go back to the incubator, where they'll be absorbed for maybe another one more day. And if they become mature, they will be also frozen.
So what happens then after you've selected the eggs?
The mature eggs will be loaded onto a straw. And the straws will go into this red color goblet. And the entire assembly will go into the storage tank. We can achieve from 80 to 90% survival rate.
The eggs are stored under lock and key until they're ready to be retrieved. Meanwhile, Asa's story ends in the most unexpected way.
I'm a writer for a personal finance website called Seedly, and I did thorough research on the cost of egg freezing in Singapore. I would consider freezing my eggs if it's not for the finances.
Those who really need it may not be able to access this option. It's kind of like a premium kind of insurance to me.
I would be curious about the actual cost of egg freezing. I understand that it ranges differently for different women, but I think that would be a huge concern when it comes to women having the option of egg freezing.
We have to think about the storage and the lab facilities, how it's going to affect the long-term lifestyle planning of that woman. If she feels that she's under a timeline, I'm paying this much for storage every month, do I have to get return on my investment and make sure that I'm married and we come to a decision to use the elective eggs?
I've invited Anna Hautanto over to help me understand what's involved in funding an elective egg freezing. She went through the procedure 5 years ago and found the process of selecting a fertility center overwhelming and the cost confusing.
If you go to one center, it can be, say, 8,000, and then you go to another, it can be 20,000. And the reason it varies greatly is also because you don't know how many times you need to go to consultation, to do ultrasound, scan, injections, blood tests. All this differs from doctors to doctors, centers to centers. So the cost might actually add up.
So I could be caught out with additional costs for blood tests or ultrasound that were not part of the package?
Yes, and you know, some centers, they actually charge you more if you have more than 20 eggs. So even the storage costs are actually variable. All the different plans actually, it's not standardized.
Can I use my MediSave for this egg freezing journey?
Egg freezing is still considered as an elective procedure, so you can't use any of your MediSave and there is no subsidies.
What are some of the methods I can defray some of these costs?
Yeah, well, some companies provide fertility benefits to their employees, and some of this may include egg freezing.
One cycle of egg freezing at a public fertility center will cost at least 10,000 Sing dollars. Then there's also the cost of storage for the frozen eggs, which will set you back at least 5,000 Sing dollars for 5 to 10 years. I will also need in vitro fertilization, or IVF for short, to make use of the frozen eggs when I'm ready to have a baby. One cycle of egg freezing with IVF comes up to about 25,000 Sing dollars in a public hospital. This excludes consultations, preliminary testings, as well as medication. I'm checking in again with Asa because she has a final chapter to her parenthood journey with her husband to share.
This is Kaya. She's almost 2.5 now. The crazy thing about Kaya was that I didn't have to use any of my frozen eggs.
Oh, what? Why is that?
This whole journey, I went into the mindset of I'm gonna freeze my eggs, find the man of my dreams, get married, create an embryo from the frozen eggs, and then have Kaya. But my gynecologist at the time was saying, we're gonna do a whole fresh batch of eggs. And at that time, I was 38 years old.
We have our baby.
Asa opted for a traditional IVF procedure because fresh eggs have a higher success rate than using frozen ones. A 2021 study found that women aged 38 and above had a mere 38% chance of having a baby born from frozen eggs. So what's gonna happen to your frozen eggs now?
I think now I'm probably just gonna keep them frozen.
Do you feel it was a waste of money?
It was definitely not a waste of time or money because I still have that security later on in life. You know, if I decide that, okay, I wanna have another baby, at least I could go back to the frozen eggs. You know, I also did freeze my eggs when I was single. We need to definitely emphasize on single women egg freezing here. Because other than people that might have a challenge in health, these are the women that need it the most. People of our age are just rushing to get married because they feel like I have to, I'm getting old, I need to have a baby, because they're not being presented with the opportunity to be able to freeze their eggs yet.
It's all quite overwhelming. I do feel reassured that I have a healthy supply of eggs for now, but that may quickly change as I get on with age. So do I want to freeze my eggs? I'm not sure yet because I'm still on the fence about even wanting a child later in life. It's good to know though that if I do want to go ahead with the procedure, I have the option of doing it here in Singapore. Because who knows? I may change my mind over the next 2 years.